Venus denotes intoxication. Yes, I started with the word intoxication to begin with. This is the period where your mental state will be in the best place. I'm giving you a very simple mantra. You don't need to go to 20 videos to understand this. 80 to 90% of the impact actually comes from your natal chart. The transit planets that are moving all around in the cosmic right now, Venus, which depicts intoxication, it depicts your pride, your ego, your luxury, beauty, fashion, creativity, music, drinks, the kind of food that you enjoy. Everybody on the internet who says, oh my gosh, Venus Mahadasha is coming after Ketu and I'm going to have a blast of the time, they're actually referring to this golden period itself. Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. This is Dev here, and today we are going to be talking about the second Mahadasha. Yes, we are continuing with the Mahadasha series. We started with Ketu Mahadasha, the 7 years of hell, as we discussed. And I've seen a lot of comments pouring in. Thanks for your feedback. Today, when we discuss about Venus for Mahadasha, which is one of the longest Mahadashas that you will encounter in your life, it's 20 years. It is followed right after the Ketu Mahadasha itself. Now, we discussed about the Sandhi period that comes into play at the fag end of the previous video. If you've not had a chance to watch that video, I will urge you guys to please visit that video so that you get a proper understanding of what Ketu Mahadasha is all about. But we did talk about the Sandhi period, which is nothing but an overlap of Ketu's impact creeping into the Venus Mahadasha itself. So some of those tendencies, some of those experiences will continue to come in your life in some shape or form even when you transit into the Venus Mahadasha itself. But Venus Mahadasha, well, it's a Mahadasha of relief to begin with. Let us try and understand what Venus is all about. Venus denotes intoxication. Yes, I started with the word intoxication to begin with. Why do I do that? Well, the fact of the matter is that everything else, every other adjective that you're going to use to define Venus will have tinge of intoxication in it. Be it luxury, beauty, love, sex, any kind of comforts of life, something that makes you feel good in terms of fashion sense, anything that you can think or associate with Venus will have a tinge of intoxication coming in this Mahadasha. But why does it happen? Well, what happens is that when most of us as natives pass through the hell of Ketu Mahadasha, the easement that follows at the end of it, and the hope that things will get better, that the recovery is there, which is bound to happen in our life, brings that sense of, getting it too easy. You tend to immerse yourself in what's going to happen good in your life. And that is where the risk of Venus Mahadasha starts. But how would your Venus Dasha be like? That is the question that I keep listening from my audience. Will it be comfortable? Will I have all luxuries in life? Well, while we do a lot of transit videos, I will recommend you guys to understand that when we are deep diving into astrology, 80 to 90% of the impact actually comes from your natal chart. The transit planets that are moving all around in the cosmic right now, they are going to have 10 to 20% of an impact on the moment that you're living. In the moment that you're living, to be honest. Why is that? Because the natal chart is nothing but a blueprint. That is the first video that I had released when I had launched this channel. It's a blueprint, it's a map that has been given to you, provided to you as to what would be the broad aspects of your life. And what you have to do is make best use of what resources and challenges are being thrown at you and how you overcome them. So, Venus, which depicts intoxication, it depicts your pride, your ego, your luxury, beauty, fashion, creativity, music, drinks, the kind of food that you enjoy, love in your life. All of these things will have a tinge of intoxication in it. So when we start with the Venus Mahadasha itself, what we realize is that the first 3 year, 4 months is Venus Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha. But before you understand your Mahadasha itself, you need to open your natal chart. And there are multiple software out there. You can just go ahead, put in your birth details, place, date of birth, etc. And you can create your natal chart. And when you look at your natal chart, you need to figure out what is the strength of Venus in your chart. Now, broadly speaking, if you have your Venus sitting in 6th, 8th or 12th house, these houses are considered to be Dushtana stans or evil houses, crudely speaking. If your Venus is in any of these 3 houses, I'd say you will not get, let's say, 100% optimum results that you would have anticipated. Or if your Venus is debilitated, even in that case, and when does Venus get debilitated? It gets debilitated in the sign of Virgo. So if it is sitting in the sign of Virgo, or if it is sitting in 6th, 8th or 12th house, that is where you will not get the most optimal results of Venus. When is Venus most comfortable? When it is sitting in its own sign, or is it exalted? So do you have your Venus in 12th sign of Pisces? Is it sitting in the second sign of Taurus or 7th sign of Libra? These are the 3 rashis, these are the 3 zodiac signs where Venus will find itself very comfortable. What are the other signs where Venus can get comfortable? Venus will also be comfortable if it is in the house of Saturn, ruled by Saturn. It considers Saturn as its friend. So Venus in Capricorn or Venus in Aquarius is also a decent, second most optimal situation to be in. I've told you the best position is when it is in its own sign, or it's an exaltation in the sign of Pisces. The second situation is when it is sitting in a friendly sign. The third situation is when some sort of cancellation of its debilitation is happening. It gets debilitated in Virgo, and if that cancellation is happening in some form of Neech Bhanga Yoga, and if you guys do not understand, please drop comments in the section, and I will create a video on the Neech Bhang Raj Yoga as well as Neech Bhang Yoga as well to help you understand and clarify that point. But if that happens, that's the third optimal situation. And the fourth optimal situation is that when Venus is in none of these areas, but it is sitting in houses where it gets comfortable. Means if it is in the 2nd house or in the 7th house, which is the Kal Purusha chart houses of Venus, of number 2 Taurus and number 7 Libra. So in those 2 circumstances as well, it is better than 6th, 8th and 12th situations. Other than that, let's say if your Venus is sitting in the 6th house and it is sitting in the sign of Pisces, you are saved. It's a much better situation to be in. Or if it is sitting in its own sign, or if it is sitting, let's say, in a friendly sign of Capricorn, even then it's a better situation to be in. So I hope that gives you a clarity as to how you would see the strength of Venus in your natal chart itself. Now we will get started with the Venus Mahadasha and Antardasha to understand what would be the impact of various time periods during this 20-year Mahadasha. So we see that Venus is a 3-year, 4-month period. This is also a period where about 9 to 12 or 13 months duration you will also have Sandhi going on with Ketu. So if you've had a very terrible, tough, dramatically difficult time under Ketu Mahadasha, those effects would have definitely come down in the last year when it was having Mercury in its Antardasha. But as the Sandhi period starts, and we find that Ketu will be diminishing its impact in the Venus Mahadasha itself. But this is also a time where will be a lot of turbulence. Yeah, everything will not sort out immediately. A lot of videos that you would have watched on YouTube, they keep telling you that, the first instance that Venus Mahadasha has arrived is you want to go and purchase a perfume. You want to go and buy new dresses. You want to go and dress up. Of course. But that's not going to happen in the first 6 months. Please don't be fooled by tons of information that is available. That is misinformation, because people are just trying to copy each other and just create certain content. It's not going to be that smooth. Everything takes time and transformation. So I want you, my audience at Dev Astrology, to please show patience in the first leg of Venus Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha as well. What you would find is that you would start having some sense you were lost in the Ketu Mahadasha completely. You were trying to get jovial in that Mercury Antardasha, but as this Antardasha starts, the first step would be towards healing. Yes, healing your mind, healing your soul, healing your physical body at times. You will realize that there will be a definite interest in you. There will be some sort of an improvement in your skin, in your facial glow, in terms of how you're keeping upkeep with your health, what quality of food you're consuming. Those small little habits in life, they will start changing. And if they are not, and you want to activate, actually, act like a catalyst to fasten that process of bringing Venus's benefic impacts to your life, start doing some of these things. This is a remedy I'm telling you right now. Start focusing towards your food intake. Start focusing to the amount of water you are consuming. And remember, Venus is also a watery sign, like Moon. So, doesn't mean that you go berserk in terms of consuming multiple liters and gallons of water in a day. No, I'm not suggesting you that. Excess of anything is going to be bad. But start with these small steps. Start consuming more liquid. Start figuring out as to how you will take care of your mental health and physical being. That will be the first trigger of improving and walking into a positive Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha. You will notice that there will be tendencies within you to start becoming more social. That is something additional that will happen during the Venus Mahadasha period itself. You will have that sense of belonging. Why? Because in Mercury you had started making friends, but I remember, folks, I told you, those friends, that social circle will not stick with you. You will actually regenerate some of your past relationships. Not all of them, but yes, some of your past relationships you will regenerate. There will be a sense of belonging, a sense of association, a sense of connect that you would try to establish in this initial period itself. You will try to take measures in terms of visiting new places. Traveling will become an interest. You would want to now come out of your shell. You would want to, not remain within the confines of your room, of your home, with the same set of people. No, you would want to expand that social circle. You would want to go and experience some form of adventure in life. And these are all positive things, because it will start with the trigger of the mind. You will notice, as many people in general speaking say, that you would like to dress up well. You would want to be more presentable. You would want to experience new pleasures in life, and pleasures of all forms. That means you might want to buy perfume. You want to have a night out with your friends in a restaurant, drink, dine, wine, whatever. Those kind of triggers will continue to grow in your life. But Venus is just not all about that. Now see, if you have Venus in its own sign, or if it is exalted, what you would notice is that there will be a potential, especially for the sign of Libra. If you have Libra Venus in your chart, you will see an uptick in your business profession. 100%, it's bound to happen. It might even start happening in the Sandhi period of Ketu. Like in the last leg of Ketu Mahadasha itself, you will see some sort of news coming your way. Some kind of new business association will get triggered for Libra Venus. And if you are Taurus Venus, you will see that all the losses that were happening in life, they will get stopped. You will start accumulating now. And accumulation can only happen when you can actually bring in some wealth. So that tendency of saving and that tendency of expanding will be there with these two signs. In case of Pisces, you guys will suddenly see there's a lot of clarity in your mind, because that spiritual lesson that you had learned from Ketu, it will actually stick with you. You will be a changed personality by now. That is definite. So those lessons are going to stick with you. They are not going to leave you as it is. And in fact, the intoxication bit that I tried to explain, it's going to be lesser when it comes to the Pisces sign. Intoxication will be in different form. It will be in the form of knowledge. It will be in the form of your emotional growth, spiritual growth. That sort of intoxication might kick in for Pisces Venus. But overall, what you will notice is that now you will start to feel settled in some form. But remember, Venus will give you mixed results. Even if it is a strong placement in your chart, it is not going to give 100% pleasures itself. No. It's not going to happen. Anybody who's claiming that in any of the videos is actually incorrect. 3 years, 4 months, it's going to be a period of mixed bag, but it is so much improvement from what you faced in the last 7 years that you feel that sense of relief in your soul. Starts the next Antardasha of Sun. What is the role of Sun? Sun is your soul. Sun is the king of all planets. Sun is the ruler. Sun also depicts your physical form, your physical strength, and how confident you are. It represents your ego as well. And it also represents your father, the superiors in your life, or the elderly in your life. Now, Venus and Sun, they do not have like a friendly relationship. They are not enemies in my mind. But they do not have a friendly relationship as well. It's more of an informal connect that these two planets establish with each other. So what happens? Well, each planet in its Antardasha is walking in to give us education of some form or the other. To give us challenges, to throw hurdles of what it wants us to learn, or maybe work in certain direction. Now, Venus Mahadasha, in the broad sense, we've agreed. It is all about, the adjectives that we talked about. Beauty, fragrance, food, wine, dine, drink, intoxication, love, sex, whatever you can think of, luxuries. But when Sun is walking into this situation, Sun says, okay, I'm not exactly friendly with you. And I know you're intoxicated with all these things and you want to enjoy all these charms. But I want to see if you can actually improve your relationship with the Father. Look inside into your soul and see what can you do different. It wants to give you a lesson. It's not particularly a hard period, guys. It's a neutral period in my mind. And it's not a great period as well. But you can make it great if you are able to see the strength of Sun in your natal chart and then act accordingly. Now, if you see, in most of the charts, Sun, Venus and Mercury, these three planets, they are moving in very close to each other. Let's say you have a conjunction of, and I'm throwing an example, you need to understand, extrapolate those examples based on your chart. Let's say you have a conjunction of Sun, Mercury and Venus sitting together. It's a deadly conjunction. Is your Venus conjunct? You need to look at that. Or is your Mercury conjunct in that situation or not? Is your Sun exalted, or is it sitting in an enemy sign? Let's say, is it sitting in Taurus itself with these two planets? Venus is comfortable there, but Sun is not. Under such, or if Sun is sitting in Leo along with Venus and Mercury, what happens then? Who is the lowest degree? In such kind of situations, you need to understand that the planet with the lowest degree in such conjunctions will have the greatest power. So if you have a conjunct situation and your Antardasha of Sun walks in Venus Mahadasha, you have to understand that the Sun is going to, bring a stick with it and say that I want you to act on XYZ. Now you have to see in which house your Sun is placed, and the lessons will be pertaining to that house itself. I'm giving you a very simple mantra. You don't need to go to 20 videos to understand this. If Sun is sitting in your first house, let's forget about conjunctions as well. Venus Mahadasha is running, Sun Antardasha comes in. If Sun is sitting in your first house, it is going to be all about your confidence. And you can raise your confidence by taking actions of what Venus is asking you to do. Work on your food, work on your health, work on your fitness, work on your look and feel, and everything related to that. Buy branded stuff for yourself and increase your confidence. If you increase your confidence, you're going to be more socially acceptable in the market. If Sun is sitting, let's say, in the 6th house, it's the house of debt. It is looking into your expenses house. It's the house of financial losses as well. It is the house of hospitalization or loans and debts and whatever you can think of. Dare if you go ahead and spend on luxuries, it is going to cause you trouble in this Venus Mahadasha and Sun Antardasha. So you need to understand from this that what is going to work and what is not going to work. Now, unlike Ketu Mahadasha, it's not a very scary period that you have to take multiple remedies. But if you ask me that, Dev, what is the remedy in Venus Mahadasha and Sun Antardasha? You have to take remedies based on the houses where Sun is placed. If at all it is aspecting your 9th house, sitting in the 3rd house, means you are going to shine. Sun is telling you to shine in mass communication in the world. It's actually recommending you to do that, but it is also giving you a caution to take care of your elderly. So you have to combine and see what is going to work and what is not going to work. Post this comes Venus Mahadasha and Moon Antardasha. The Moon Antardasha is a period of 1 year and 8 months. Venus and Moon, they are friendly to each other. So it is one of the very good periods of Venus, so to speak, Venus Mahadasha, so to speak, because both of them, they are water signs. They are comfortable in this space. And this is the period where your mental state will be in the best place. You will now start, because see, Sun came to raise the confidence through your physical form. Understand that. Sun is not a complete malefic. It's a mild malefic. That's what it's claimed. It's claimed to be a mild malefic. But Moon, on the other hand, is more or less benefic. So you have worked on the challenges that you faced in Venus to improve in physical self. Then you try to raise your confidence, your ego, your connect, your expression through Sun Antardasha. And when comes the Moon Antardasha, you have to actually then find that peace of mind. That confidence is going to sit, reside and stay with you. So this is the period I would recommend you guys to actually enjoy, live your life. If you need to also see what is the placement of Moon in which house is it placed. Let's say if it is placed in the 10th house, this is the period where you will see tremendous success in the professional area. If it is sitting in your 7th house, you will enjoy marital bliss. Amazing marital bliss. This is the honeymoon period, if I may call, of the entire Venus Mahadasha that you are going to experience. So you should not just rule your planets, but enjoy the fruits of your planets as well, of your chart as well. So during the Moon Antardasha, you should take measures to actually connect with your mother. Her blessings are going, that's a remedy, are going to add to the benefits of your life. Right? So it's a very brief content I will keep here. All in all, I think this is one of the most terrific periods in the entire Mahadasha that you should look forward to. The only thing is, if your moon is afflicted, let's say if it is having some kind of an eclipse because of Rahu or Ketu, Mars usually doesn't cause much trouble. It makes you mentally a bit aggressive. But Rahu and Ketu are the major cause areas for Moon or Saturn as well. If those kind of situations are happening, that is where you will be a bit troubled if your Moon is afflicted. But this is also the period for you to actually recuperate out of those problems mentally and come out of it. You cannot fix it completely because it's your natal chart itself where it is troubled, especially if Moon is sitting in the 12th house. Yes, please remember, if Moon is sitting in the 12th house, it's a tricky situation to be in. But apart from that, I think this is one of the best periods that you guys will experience, and you must drop down your comments if any of you are having your Venus Mahadasha, which Antardasha you are running and what kind of experiences you are having. Then comes the Mars Antardasha, which is of 1 year and 2 months. Now, again, not a very friendly relationship, but I don't count Mars as inimical to Venus as well. So it's kind of a neutral situation to be in. But what would happen is, as we discussed in the last video as well, Mars tends to trigger some sort of aggression in us. It brings that energy, that fiery power in us to go and express ourselves. But interestingly, if you channelize this energy in the right direction, this Venus Mahadasha, Mars Antardasha can actually bear a lot of positive results as well for you. So a lot of times I have seen, and I think I'm yet to acquire more knowledge on Nandi Nadi, but I think as per Nandi, they also say that, you know, marriage can also be seen through Mars. Like in Jupiter, we talk about for women in Vedic. That's what they claim from Mars perspective. So that's another angle that you can deep dive into. But when Mars Antardasha comes, you will see that there could be health related concerns that might come into play. Something related to blood, not enough iron in your body, or you are having some sort of injury risks coming your way. It's not exactly a friendly situation for these two, right? So under such circumstances, my recommendation to you guys would be just be a little watchful during this 1 year, 2 month period. Take care of your physical fitness. In fact, this is a remedy because Venus signifies your health as well. And if you are able to take proper care under the Mars Antardasha period, you will realize you will emerge much more stronger into the next phase of life. Mars wants you to do that. Mars wants you to hit the gym during this period, practice yoga, Pilates, whatever you want to do for a marathon. Use that energy because Mars will get you tired as well. You will notice that if you have afflicted Mars, or if it is not in one of the best houses, then it can cause trouble. Like typically a Mars sitting in 7th house with Venus Mahadasha going on, it could be troubles in your marriage as well. Or if Mars is somehow aspecting that, it could cause troubles in that area. Cause problems if, let's say, it is sitting in the 1st house itself. It will make you very, very angry for some reason during this period. But interesting aspect is Mars and Venus, when they form conjunction, it is also called a Raj Yoga, and depends where it's forming that conjunction and the degrees of these two planets as well, which one is on a lower degree and the higher degree. And we will talk about those kind of conjunctions as well in some of the videos that I'll put together. But actually, if Mars and Venus are in close conjunction together, then this period could make you unbeatable in whatever sphere of life you operate in. Literally unbeatable. You could be the Virat Kohli of your world. You could be the Pete Sampras of your world, Steffi Graf of your world. Sorry, I love cricket and tennis, and that's the examples I can think of. But that's what it can do. So this conjunction as well as this Antardasha can have mixed results depending on the position of Mars, whether or not it is having any kind of conjunction, and the strength of it. But broadly speaking, my remedy to you guys would be take care of your health, especially from a blood perspective. Take care of your fitness, go work out, exercise, chant Om Namah Shivaya or Hanuman Chalisa, which is also going to be a very fruitful thing to happen. The next is the Rahu Antardasha. And this Antardasha is of 3 years. Before you watch the rest of the video, guys, please drop your comments and tell me what do you guys think that Rahu does. Rahu is exactly not an enemy of Venus. That's the answer. So this could be actually the golden era of the Venus Mahadasha. And why do I say golden era? Because Rahu is an illusionist. It's an expansionist. And this is the period you see some tremendous expansion happening in terms of all the qualities of Venus. See, when it comes in Venus's collaboration, conjunction, aspect or connection, and in this case it's the connection of Mahadasha and Antardasha, what happens is that Rahu tends to take qualities of Venus itself. It says, okay boss, I'm going to behave like you. So in this period of 3 years, if you are having half a decent Venus in your natal chart, trust me, half a decent Venus, Rahu combined with it, it's going to explode the impact of what you expect from Venus. And everybody on the internet who says, oh my gosh, Venus Mahadasha is coming after Ketu and I'm going to have a blast of the time, they're actually referring to this golden period itself. This is the time when you will be most comfortable, enjoying all luxuries, and hopefully things remain positive, unless and until Rahu is sort of having a turbulent axis along with Ketu in your natal chart. So check that. But typically, try and measure and see Rahu's behavior from the house that it is sitting in. If it is sitting in your 10th house, gosh, you are going to explode in terms of your career, enjoy luxuries through that. If it is sitting in the 6th house, you're going to kill your enemies, hands down. And you are going to kill them with a smile on your face. So those are the kind of things that come into play. But if Rahu is sitting in 1 or 7 axis, is Venus along with that or not? You want to check that. Or if there is some, a planet like Jupiter which is aspecting it, so that's how it changes the impact of Rahu and Ketu as well. So those kind of things will actually determine the magnitude of impact of this golden period in your life. But all in all, I consider Venus Mahadasha with Rahu Antardasha a much better period, so to speak. And I am talking all of these things based on the modern world situation. See, the malefics in today's world, the Saturns of the world, the Rahu Ketus, the Mars of the world, they are going to give you more material success, material luxuries in life than a Jupiter or a Mercury or anything of that sort. In the modern era, all of us, we are corrupt to the core. That's a fact. We've lost our path in some shape or form. But that's what, at the end of the day, we desire, material success. And it's the malefics that give you that success. So that is why I'm calling this to be a golden period that you have to leverage to the best of your capability. Next is the Jupiter Antardasha under Venus Mahadasha, and this period is of 2 years and 8 months. Now Jupiter and Venus, they are both gurus. Jupiter is the godly guru and Venus is the demon guru. But they are both knowledgeable lords. They are both knowledgeable planets. And they exactly aren't friendly to each other. But you will be surprised that you might be anticipating bad results with the two inimical signs. And that's the logic I've been teaching you, right? To understand how planets work together. But this is where it gets amazing. in Jupiter Antardasha, you do not get any, malefic results of Venus Mahadasha. Jupiter continues to look with its pious, benefic impact and aspect in this Antardasha as well. Yes, it will expect you to do the good deeds. It's as if you are following good karma. I don't care if it is Venus Mahadasha and I do not have a friendly relationship with Venus, but I'm still going to reward you. So 2 years, 8 months period, you're not going to be struggling with me. Now, what kind of impact can I give you? I need to be comfortable. So is Venus sitting in its own house? If it's sitting with a friendly sign, if it is sitting with no malefic aspects, even if it is neutral, under those circumstances, Jupiter, it's very comfortable. So if Jupiter is sitting in the 9th sign of Sagittarius, or it is sitting in the sign of Pisces, it's super comfortable. In the sign of Cancer, or in the sign of Aries, Scorpio, Leo, all of these places you will find Jupiter is comfortable and it will not create much problem. Now if it is sitting in the sign of Capricorn, where it gets debilitated, even then Jupiter has the ability to give you positive results. But yes, things will get better, a notch better, if Neech Bhang is happening. In that situation, you will have a fix on those regards as well. So what happens during this period? See, we had learnt our spiritual lessons, and we had in the Ketu Mahadasha, and then we had the Venus Mahadasha running, and you had the Rahu Antardasha came in to give you that golden period and enjoy the materialistic pleasures of life. Jupiter just wants to bring back all those spiritual aspects again. But let's say you are not exactly being spiritual, but you are living a phase where you are trying to help people, heal people, educate people, or you are in those kind of professions, following karma in those kind of directions. Both these planets, they appreciate that. Both of them. So Jupiter will specially bestow positive results to the native if it is experiencing anything of this sort. What can you do better? Love kids. Do something for the kids in Jupiter Antardasha. Yeah. Simple remedies. Feed kids, or just play with them, spend good time, gift them. You'll be at peace. Respect your gurus. This is a period when you might be getting in a lot of material success in your profession. But show that respect back. Give that respect back to your father, to your boss, to your superior, to your customers. Guys, if you are watching this video and you are an entrepreneur, you're a businessman, business person, consider your customers as your gurus. Even if you are the one who dictates what kind of products they need to consume. And you will see such tremendous results pouring down your way that it's just hard to fathom. So again, from a Jupiter Antardasha standpoint, it's a very good Antardasha. You will sail through easily, no troubles that I anticipate. What next? You have the next Antardasha of Saturn coming in, 3 years and 2 months. Now Saturn is a friend of Venus. And Saturn is the lord of delays. So this is a period. See, Saturn will come in and it will give good results to you, irrespective of how badly it is placed in your natal chart. Yes, I'm giving a different feedback out here. Even if it is not the strongest planet in your natal birth chart, it will still give you positive results during the course of this 3+ years period, given you bring an attitude of servitude, service to others. If you bring that kind of mindset, if you have a malefic or afflicted Saturn sitting in your birth chart, things might be a little slow, little more delay is what you would expect. But if it is exalted, or if it is in a good state, well, you will see that Saturn being friendly sign of Venus, it is bound to give you, it is promising you success in terms of material gains, in terms of growth of your career, in terms of your longevity as well. People who are fighting life and death situations, see, Saturn plays a very critical role there. And Venus is also a sign of healing. So I have seen situations in my personal known individuals. I have seen their charts. They've actually fought the battle of life and come out of it during this period itself. So it's a very critical period. And Saturn will promise you good results as long as it is not terribly placed in your natal chart. What you need to do? You need to be kind. You need to curb your arrogance, if at all. That intoxication that is creeping in you, remember guys, I keep telling you that. You have to keep that intoxication in control. Intoxication will be there in some shape or form. You have to keep that in control. And you will realize that this is another Antardasha where a lot of material gains will come your way. We talked about how Saturn brings you to the material horizon in the Ketu Mahadasha as well, and that's exactly what's going to happen in this one as well. But it is going to be much more eased. It is going to be much more comfortable for you. What next? Well, we have the Mercury Antardasha, which is for 2 years and 10 months. Generally, Mercury is comfortable with Venus, but you need to see the strength of Mercury in your natal chart. Because Mercury is a little tricky. It's a young prince. Now, there are some bizarre situations that take place with an afflicted Mercury in the Venus Mahadasha, and the afflicted Mercury can, if it's aspected by some malefic planets, or if it is sitting in debilitation, if it is sitting in an enemy house, things like that. What you notice is that the native has a tendency to have affairs of some kind with a woman who's taken, married, or girlfriend of some other individual, and things like that. These are very, very weird situations that arrive with Mercury Antardasha. But at the same time, if you have a Mercury which is neutral, or which is in a stronger place, like if it gets exalted in its own sign of Virgo, or sitting in Gemini, or sitting in one of the houses where it is comfortable, you will realize is that these are the people, these are the natives who will have some excellent growth in their career during this Antardasha. This Antardasha of 2 years, 10 months is the period when they will have some supreme analytical skills, number crunching skills, and all of them translating into the business relationships while they are communicating with people. Venus is also a planet that owns relationships, it owns business, and Mercury it enhances that capability in you. So it brings a lot of auspicious results as well. It's also a good period for you guys to conduct certain kind of ceremony for kids. A lot of ceremonies are seen during this period itself, this Mahadasha of Venus and Mercury Antardasha. So I would want you to keep a caution as to what kind of situations you are facing. Remedies are very simple for this as well. See if you can actually take care of animals, feed a cow for that matter. Or if you are able to take care of kids as well, feeding kids, spending time with them, cracking jokes with them, those kind of minor habits in life, they are going to be super helpful for you. And last but not the least is the Ketu Antardasha, which is 1 year and 2 months. Now Ketu Antardasha in Venus Mahadasha, it's a tricky one. Why do I say it's tricky? See, because if Ketu is again in a negative house, negative placement, or ill placed, then this is a period when you get induced with certain losses. Or if Venus is afflicted, then some losses can happen. We talked about marital separation, we talked about divorces, we talked about relationships ending, we talked about people losing somebody from their life. Those kind of effects can definitely come into play again during this phase if your Venus is debilitated or Venus is affected in some form, or the other way around. If your Ketu is in a bad spot, or if it is in a bad house, the impacts of those houses in a negative shape and form will start occurring. At the same time, if this Ketu is well placed and it doesn't have any direct correlation, conjunction aspect with Venus in your chart, then what you would find is that you will either sail through neutrally or you will have positive impacts as well during this Ketu Antardasha. Again, depending on the kind of house that it is sitting in. Suppose you have your Ketu sitting in your 12th house. So it is possible that you might face certain challenges, but eventually, even in Venus Mahadasha, you will be seeking some sort of spiritual growth, upliftment in that regard. There will be a lot of calmness, clarity, cool, self-discovery that you will do. It is also all about you. So, my dear friends, this is the 20-year Mahadasha period of Venus. If some of you are about to finish your Ketu Mahadasha and entering into this phase, or who are already going through your Venus Mahadasha, please drop in your comments and tell me what's the kind of experiences that you're having so far in life. And if you have any burning questions, please drop a note and I would like to get back to you. And continuing this Mahadasha series, we will be talking about Sun Mahadasha, which will release very soon. I'm working on that as well. And I will also start a series where I will be talking about each of the houses, their lords, and the placement of their lords into another house and the impact of it. That's another series I've planned. If you have any feedback and if you want me to pick up some other topic, please drop a comment so that I understand that and I will try to create videos in that space. Thank you.